السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله وبعد فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. First and foremost, it is very nice and it is very pleasing to see that the Hujjaj have returned after completing their Hajj. So we make dua for them that Allah accepts their Hajj and He grants them a Hajj al-Mabruran, an accepted Hajj, the reward of which is none other than coming back with a clean slate, just like the day the mother had given birth to them. Ameen. Along with that, we can't help ourselves but to realize that the returning of the Hujjaj, those who have gone for the Hajj, signifies that the Islamic year is coming to an end. Today we are approximately on the 22nd of Dhul Hijjah. Dhul Hijjah being the last month of the Islamic calendar, which means 12 months have gone past, and it is time for us to reflect and think about what has gone and what has happened, what achievements we have made, what losses we have made during the course of the year. With that, we have the new academic year also starting in a few weeks. So a lot of things are going to take place, a lot of things will be happening. So it's time for reflection. Approximately, roughly 1 year ago, I stood here in the same place and I echoed the same message. I echoed the same sentiments, saying that the Islamic year is coming to an end. It's time to reflect. How many people do we know that will be sitting with us in this masjid who are not with us today anymore? How many are friends, how many are family members? How many people on our contacts when we open up our phone do we know of that were sitting with us here last year this time? And yet today they are residents of beneath the earth. So we look at the message of the Prophet ﷺ and we derive lessons from it. When the Prophet ﷺ, he says, اغتنم خمسا قبل خمس, that make the most of, take advantage of, consider precious 5 things before the coming of 5 others. Now let's go through these 5 things, let's derive and extract the lessons we can, and let's make a positive change for the year to come. So the Prophet ﷺ, he says that take advantage of 5 before the coming of 5 others. Number 1, he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, peace be upon him, says, شَبَابَكَ قَبَلَ حَرَمِكَ, that take advantage of your youth before old age. Take advantage of your youth before old age. Why? What's so great about the youth over the old age? When we look into the further hadith, into the other hadith that the Prophet ﷺ has told us, and he is describing to us the scenario of the Day of Judgment. He is painting the picture for us. He is informing us what will happen on that day, when the sun will be only 1 mile above the head, and the people will be drowning in their own sweat according to their deeds. When Aisha radiallahu anha found out that the people on the Day of Judgment will be unclothed, they will not be wearing anything, she became worried. She said, "O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, will the people not be looking at one another?" So the Prophet ﷺ says, Al-amru a'zamu min hadha. Affairs are a lot greater than that. No one's got time to look at anyone. So the Prophet ﷺ, he says that on that day, سَبَعَةٌ يُظِلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ظِلِّهِ يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلُّهُ. That there will be 7 categories of people who will be granted a shade under the shade of Allah on that day, when none other will receive any shade. And amongst the categories is that one category which is شَابٌ نَشَأَ فِي عِبَادَةِ اللَّهِ. Is that youth which was nurtured, which grew up in the worship of Allah. So that day, the day of judgment, if that is made easy for us, all our affairs after that is made easy. But if difficulty starts to arise and come about on that day, then wallahi, what hope do we have? What hope do we have? So the Prophet ﷺ is telling us, informing us, that when our youth, our young age, the prime time, we spend it in the worship of Allah, then for him is that reward of that shade on that day. Now imagine this youth. What's so great about it? It is the time when we adopt and we adapt and we bring about within our lives the different actions, the different ibadah, the different worship, different habits and customs. When you open up the books of hadith, and you open up Mishkat al-Masabih, and you find in there that the Prophet ﷺ says that when you receive news that a mountain has got up from its place and moved, then believe in that. No problem. Saddiqu, accept it. But if you believe, or if you receive the news that someone has changed their habits, then question it twice. You need to start thinking about it. Because how it is difficult to change our habits. If in our youth we are too busy with the dunya, if in our youth we are too busy for Allah, we are too busy earning money, too busy with lahu la'ib, with entertainment, and we don't bring about the worship of Allah, the recognition of Allah, the importance of deen in our life at that time, then when are we going to do it? It is a myth. It is a myth within the society and community to say that when I become old and my beard has gone grey, I will go for hajj and come back and I will become pious. Because wallahi, there is no guarantee that I will take another step forward. When the time has come, لا يستأخرون ساعة ولا يستقدمون, that when the time of death has come, then nobody can bring it forward 1 minute, nobody can take it back 1 minute. So our youth is our prime time. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying that make the most of your youth before old age. And for those who have reached that age now, and we're thinking to ourselves, maybe this does not apply to us, we have family members. We have our children. We have the children of the society, the community. We have the Muslims around us, our nephews and nieces, grandchildren. We need to bring about the positive change within their life. Number 2, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, وَصِحَّتَكَ قَبَلَ سَقَمِكَ. The second advice given by him is that appreciate, make the most of your good health before illness. Before illness. Before we come to a point that we are unable to walk to the masjid. Last time, or Eid day actually, we stood and we spoke about the reward of walking to the masjid. How we can attain the reward of hajj, and we said that the one who makes the effort of performing his wudu and he has prepared himself properly and he comes to the masjid so that he can perform his compulsory prayers, he receives the reward of one hajj. And the Prophet ﷺ then commented after it, Tamma, 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 the complete reward, the complete reward, the complete reward. But before we come to a point where we're unable to walk anymore, we're unable to get up from the bed anymore. Somebody said very nicely the other day, we went to an Eid celebration party in Swansea prison. And he mentioned very nicely that there's a joke that somebody could have all the wealth in the world and could be living in the 5-star hotels. But if Allah has deprived him of sleep for whatever reason, for whatever illness, then that wealth means nothing. That 5-star hotel means nothing. You can have the queen-size bed or a king-size bed, but it has no use at all whatsoever if the health is not there. My friend used to say all the time, health is wealth. So we need to make the most of our health once we have it, before it comes to a point where we become dependent on others. We make God Allah who gives us the good health, and He allows us to appreciate the health while we have it, and that He grants good health to those who are ill. Ameen. Moving on, the Prophet ﷺ then goes on to the third advice, and he says, وَغِنَاكَ قَبَلَ فَقْرِكَ, that make the most of your wealth before poverty. Make the most of your wealth before poverty. So when we look into the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the companions say that we came to him and we found him reciting أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرُ. We all know this surah. أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرُ. That one-upmanship, competing with one another in attaining more, has put you into ghafla, has made you heedless and forgetful. Because I want more than everybody else. It's about me and how much can I get? How big can I make my bank account? So we found the Prophet ﷺ reciting this ayah. And then the Prophet ﷺ himself did the tafsir of this ayah. And he says, يَقُولُ ابْنَ آدَمْ مَالِي مَالِي. That the children of Adam alayhi salam, they will call out, my wealth, my wealth. And we think to ourselves that whatever is in our pockets, in our wallets, in our bank accounts, it belongs to us. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he further on says, وَهَلْ لَكَ يَبْنَ آدَمْ مِنْ مَالِكَ إِلَّا مَا أَكَلْتَ فَأَفْنَيْتَ. O Ibn Adam, does anything belong to you other than that which you have eaten and now has been disposed of? So before you have taken that food, it does not belong to you. Think about it. If before taking that morsel into the mouth, a person dies, can we say that he owned it? No. He's not going to take that to the grave with him. The only time you would say that the person, he has actually made use of it, and he has actually used it and it's belonging to him, is after he's eaten it and he's disposed of it. He has used the energy that's come from it. He has taken sustenance from it. He has been nurtured from it. That is the time you can say, actually, yes, he has made use of it. Then the Prophet ﷺ says, أَوْ لَبِسْتَ فَأَبْلَيْتَ. Or that clothing that he has worn until it has become completely gone and decayed. Because if we buy something new, for example, when Eid comes and we go out shopping, what do? We buy it beforehand and we store it in the cupboard. If before that the time of death comes, can we see that person made any use of it? It belonged to him? Again, he's not going to be buried with it. So when we have used that clothing to the point that it's no longer usable, the Prophet ﷺ says at that time you can say it was his wealth. But before that he had no share of it. Whilst it's stored away, hidden away within the cupboards and the compartments, he's got no right over it. It does not belong to him. And then the Prophet ﷺ, he concludes his commentary of this verse by saying, أَوْ تَصَدَّقْتَ فَأَمْضَيْتَ, that the only other wealth which actually belongs to him is that sadaqah, that charity which is given and it is gone and the reward is being stored for him now. At that time you can say that that wealth belonged to him because it will benefit him at that time. So the Prophet ﷺ's advice was وَغِنَاكَ قَبَلَ فَقْرِكَ, that to make the most of and consider precious your wealth before the time of poverty. And the Prophet ﷺ, he's told us explicitly, openly, لَيْسَ الْغِنَى عَنْ كَثْرَةِ الْعَرْضِ, that the wealth is not to have a lot of commodities, a lot of items to your name. It's not when you have a big fat bank balance saying that this is how much I own, but rather وَلَكِنَّ الْغِنَى غِنَى النَّفْسِ, that the actual wealth, the actual property you own is the contentment of the heart. Is the contentment of the heart. When the heart is at ease and it is content with what Allah has given, that is when you can say that person is wealthy. Again, we come back to that same example. You can have somebody sleeping in a 5-star hotel, or somebody living in a 5-star hotel, yet he is deprived of sleep, he has no contentment at all whatsoever in his heart. So he cannot make the most of it. Yet you can have somebody who has nothing to his name, a miskin, a faqir, a poor person, and he'll be sleeping in the middle of the road, no worries at all whatsoever. No worries at all whatsoever. Now you can say he is content. He's got no worries. He's not worried about anyone coming and disturbing him, taking his wealth away. You know, when Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he was asked, what's better, wealth or knowledge? So he gave his answer and he said, of course it's knowledge. Knowledge is better than wealth anytime.
And then he laid out about 15 different reasons as to why. And one of them was that you have to guard your wealth. Because there's the fear that somebody will come and try to take it away from you. But when it comes to knowledge, no one will come to take it from you. No one is able to steal it from you. Your knowledge is within yourself, is embodied within you. So, we say that Allah gives us the ability to appreciate the wealth that He has given us. He allows us to spend it in the right places, which will make Him happy, and not in those places which will cause His anger on the Day of Judgment. When we see the hadith of Sahih Muslim, we see that the Prophet ﷺ says that the first three people to be taken reckoning of on the Day of Judgment is number one, a martyr, number two, a alim, a scholar, and number three was a wealthy person. The wealthy person will be brought forward, and he will be asked, what did you do with the wealth that I had blessed you with? He will say, oh Allah, I spent it in every single avenue that you could think of. And then Allah will say to him, Kadibta, you are lying. You only said it so that the people will say that you are very generous and very wealthy, and look how much he is donating. Rather, you did it so that the people will say, look, you did it for these reasons. But rather, if you were to do it for my sake, we give it for the sake of Allah. If it's done for my sake, you would have received the reward. But today you have nothing to your name, because you did it to show off and to make the name and the fame. And He will instruct the angels, and you will be flung into the fire of hell. Allah protects us from that, and He grants us the ability to stand in the right way that will bring about the pleasure of Allah. Number 4 of the advices of the Prophet ﷺ, he says, وَفَرَاغَكَ قَبَلَ شُغُلِكَ. And make the most of your free time. Make the most of your free time before you become busy. Make the most of your free time before you become busy. Why? The Prophet ﷺ further says in a hadith that Allah Himself says that all children of Adam, free yourself for my worship. Take out some time for my worship, and indeed I will fill your hearts with richness, with content, with wealth. I will give you whatever you want, and not only that, I will close the doors of poverty for you. So when you make that time for Allah, Allah will make everything else fall into place. But, and then he goes on further and he says, وَإِلَّا تَفْعَلْ. And if this is something that you won't be doing, then I will fill your heart with occupation. You will be occupied at all times. You will be too busy. And not only that, you will be going after the wealth. You will be going after all the, the fulus and the money and whatever else you can think of, the properties. Yet I will not close the door of faqr from you. You will always remain hungry for that wealth. You will always continue to remain hungry for that wealth. So it becomes our duty that we take out the time. We take out that 5 minutes during work. Actually, I need to go pray my Dhuhr prayer. I need to do my Asr prayer. It's Isha time, I have to go and perform my Isha prayer. Not that we become shy and we back off and say, actually, no, I'll do Qadha afterwards. It becomes our responsibility to free up that time. And when we do that, Allah will give us more, definitely. مَنْ جَاءَ بِالْحَسَنَةِ فَلَهُ عَشْرُ أَمْثَالِهَا. Whoever comes with one deed, one good deed, Allah will multiply by 10 times. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. With every difficulty comes ease. With every difficulty comes ease. We want to make it, we want to worship Allah, we'll have to do that little bit of sacrifice to begin with, and Allah will make the rest easy. And we'll conclude with the 5th point, inshallah. And the Prophet ﷺ, he sums up the 4 points, and he says, وَحَيَاتَكَ قَبْلَ مَوْتِكَ. Make the most of your life before death. Make the most of your life before death. Last week the Imam stood here and he spoke about coping with the loss of a family member or a friend. And he informed me that the reason for me speaking about that topic was not because we had one of our beloved member of the community pass away and we performed his janazah and make Allah gives him the highest level in Jannah, Ameen. He said it was not because of that. That wasn't the reason I spoke about that topic. He says the reason I spoke about coping with the loss of a family member last week was because every single day of last week there was one news that someone or some person has passed away. every day. Whether it be in Swansea, whether it be in London, or in Bangladesh, or Iraq, or any other place in the world. He said, every day I had to make an announcement that so-and-so has passed away. So he found it befitting that we speak about it. Now let me tell you and bring it to your attention, brothers and sisters. The adhan has been given. Only the salah awaits. I remember when we were reading the hadith in Sunan Abi Dawud, our teacher explained to us that when a child is born, it is the sunnah practice that we give the adhan in the ear of the child. And he said, what does this signify? What does this symbolize? The teacher explained to us that the adhan has been given. So when we give adhan for our prayer, and if our imam, if our muaddin is very generous, maybe he'll give us 20 minutes, 25 minutes until the fard prayer takes place. And then eventually we will start our fard prayer and we will complete our prayer. Likewise, our teacher explained to us, the adhan has been given in the ears. So your salatul janazah is being ready. Your life expectancy is only the duration between the adhan and the salah. How long is that? 20 minutes? 15 minutes? So our life is also the same compared to what is to come in the akhirah. So the adhan has been given. Only the salah awaits. And one day our time will come that we will have to be brought here. And it is a reality. And it is something that we cannot escape. أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا يُدْرِكُمُ الْمَوْتِ وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ. It doesn't matter if you are hiding in the fortresses. It doesn't matter how much barriers you have in front of you. يُدْرِكُمُ الْمَوْتِ. The death will find you. Death will catch up to you. You will not be able to stop it. Let's look at what has been mentioned in the narration of Tabib al-Ghafilin. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As radiyallahu anhuma, he says that my father would always say, his father was none other than Amr ibn As radiyallahu anhu. He was one of the greatest companions, one of the last batch to migrate and become a muhajir, one of the greatest conquerors in Islam. He says, my father used to always say that I find it amazing that when a person who has intellect, a person who has the power of the tongue, the time of death comes, he is unable to describe to us how death feels or what the scenario of death is. He says, I find it amazing that people are unable to describe death to us, what to expect. So he says, when the time of my father's death came, he says, oh my father, I ask you that you explain to me swiftly and maut, that you describe to me what maut, what death is like. He says, oh my son, this is a great affair. What can I say to you? It is as if though two mountains have been placed on my chest, and I am trying to breathe through the eye of a needle, and I can feel thorns pricking at my stomach, and it is as if that the sky has come down and enveloped the earth, and I'm in between. This is what death feels like. And then he reminds his son of his life, and he says, oh my son, there was a point in my life, a time in my life, where I hated this man Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the most disliked and hated person in my life, and I made every effort to kill him and assassinate him. What would have happened to me if I had died at that time? What would have happened to me if I died at that time? ثُمَّ هَدَانِيَ اللَّهِ. Then Allah gave me hidayah, Allah gave me guidance. And this one man, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he became the most beloved person to me. He became the most beloved person to me. ثُمَّ وَلَّانِي عَلَى السَّرَايَا, he says. And then he put me in charge of many expeditions, many armies. Only if I were to die at that time, then I would have been blessed with the prayer and the janazah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he says, then the Prophet ﷺ passed away and he left us. And now I have become involved with the dunya. I don't know what my situation will be in the presence of Allah. Imagine a Sahabi al-Jaleel seeing this. Where does that leave you and me, brothers and sisters? So we need to take lessons from these points that the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned. We need to reflect over the good that we have done over the year, and we need to say Alhamdulillah and do shukr and show our gratitude to Allah for all those things that He's given us and He has blessed us with. And we need to again reflect over all the sins and the evil that we may have committed during the year, and we need to ask Allah for sincere repentance that, oh Allah, please forgive us. And with that we will conclude. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله وبعد فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر وأشهدهم في أمر الله عمر وأصدقهم حياء عثمان وأقضاهم علي وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة والحسن والحسين سيدا شباب أهل الجنة وحمزة أسد الله وأسد رسوله اللهم اغفر للعباس وولده مغفرة ظاهرة وباطنة له ولذنبا الله في أصحابي لا تتخذوهم غرضا من بعدي فمن أحبهم فبحب أحبهم ومن أبغضهم فببغض أبغضهم وخير أمتي قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون وأقيموا الصلاة